The small Sunrise Elementary School, located in Springfield, was known for its welcoming community. The hallways were always filled with the sound of children's laughter, and the teachers treated their students as if they were their own. Among them was Emily Harper, a 28-year-old kindergarten teacher who had moved to the town 2 years earlier with dreams of educating and inspiring young minds. Emily was the children's favorite. With her warm smile, bright eyes, and infinite patience, she made each student feel special. She often decorated the classroom with their artwork and created creative games to teach simple concepts like the alphabet and numbers. On a spring Thursday morning, Emily started the day as usual. She greeted her 20 students, helped them hang up their backpacks, and gathered them in a circle for class. The school was especially lively that day, with a sports event planned for the afternoon. As the children played with colorful blocks and drew pictures, Emily caught a faint smell of something burning. At first, she assumed it was coming from the kitchen, where they often baked birthday cakes for the students. But within minutes, the smell grew stronger, and a cloud of smoke began to seep under the door. Emily Harper's heart raced as she realized the burning smell wasn't a passing distraction. Smoke was now visible, slipping under the door like a silent warning. She quickly stood up and opened the classroom door. The hallway was filled with dense smoke, and the sound of fire alarms echoed through the school. Cries and hurried footsteps could be heard in the distance. Turning back to the 20 little faces staring at her in confusion and fear, Emily knew she had to act quickly. Keeping her voice calm, she said, "Children, we're going to play follow the leader, okay? Everyone line up and hold hands. We're going to leave the room and find a safe place." The children began to line up, but panic was already spreading. Some started to cry, while others froze, paralyzed by fear. Emily knelt to their level, taking a deep breath. "I promise I'll take care of you. Do you trust me?" A few nodded, and she began to lead them toward the exit. But as she opened the door again, she saw the hallway had become even more engulfed in smoke, making it almost impossible to see. Emily realized she couldn't risk the children getting lost in the chaos. Returning to the classroom, Emily quickly assessed the situation. The window was high and small, designed only for ventilation, but it might be their only way out. She began moving chairs and tables to create an improvised ladder to reach it. As she worked, the sound of the flames grew closer, and the air became oppressively hot. The children began coughing, and Emily felt her own throat burn from the smoke. "It's okay, children, stay together, we're almost there." Emily managed to open the window and looked outside. It was a drop of just over 2 meters to the school's lawn, not ideal, but safe enough. She called for help, but the chaos of the fire seemed to swallow all sound. She made the tough decision to start evacuating the children one by one. Lifting each child in her arms, she helped them through the window and carefully lowered them outside. A few staff members and parents began rushing to the side of the building. As they saw the children being rescued, Emily shouted instructions, asking them to take the children while she continued rescuing the others. By the time Emily had helped the 19th child out, the heat from the flames was unbearable. The fire had reached the classroom door. Only she and one last child, Liam, remained. Liam was crying, gripping a chair tightly. "Liam, sweetheart, we need to go now. I need you to trust me," she said, her voice steady despite her desperation. Liam finally let go of the chair, and Emily scooped him up in her arms. With flames now licking at the walls, she climbed the makeshift ladder and used all her strength to get them both through the window. Holding Liam tightly, Emily felt fresh air for the first time since the fire began. She jumped down to the lawn, shielding him with her body as they landed. Cheers and cries of relief erupted from parents and staff gathered outside. Emily looked at the 20 children, now huddled together in a circle, crying, coughing, but alive. She dropped to her knees, exhaustion overtaking her. Her breathing was heavy, every muscle ached, but the relief of knowing the children were safe kept her conscious. Firefighters finally arrived, spraying water on the blazing building. Paramedics surrounded Emily, checking her for minor burns and smoke inhalation. All she could do was ask, "Are the children okay? Are they safe?" The paramedics reassured her that none of the children had suffered serious injuries. Emily finally allowed herself to be taken to an ambulance for oxygen, watching as her students' familiar faces were comforted by their parents. The next day, news of Emily's heroic act spread across the town. Local newspapers called her the hero of Sunrise Elementary, highlighting how she had risked her life to save 20 children. Parents, fellow teachers, and even strangers gathered outside the school to leave flowers, letters, and banners in gratitude. The school was temporarily closed for repairs, but Emily insisted that classes resume at another location as soon as possible. The children need normalcy, she told the principal, ignoring advice to take time off to recover. Though the community saw her as a hero, Emily carried the weight of that day in silence. She relived the sound of the flames and Liam's frightened look in her arms. At the same time, she felt immense gratitude for having the strength to protect them. Weeks later, during an impromptu meeting at a temporary community center, Emily was surprised by a tribute organized by the parents of her students. Each child presented her with a drawing representing the moment she had saved them: hearts, flames, and the sun shining in the background. Liam, who had grown especially close to Emily since the fire, handed her a small handmade card. "Thank you for being our superhero," it read, accompanied by a drawing of Emily wearing a cape. Overcome with emotion, Emily hugged Liam and said, "You are my strength, you always will be." While Emily became an inspirational figure in Springfield, the experience left invisible scars. She spent sleepless nights, haunted by the tense moments, the flames, and the terrified faces of her students. Concerned for her well-being, the children's parents encouraged Emily to seek professional help. Initially reluctant, she agreed, realizing that to continue being the best teacher she could be, she needed to care for her own mental health. Through therapy sessions, Emily shared how her love for her students had driven her to act. She also learned to channel her emotions into something constructive, focusing on the positive impact her courage had on the children's lives. 2 months after the fire, Sunrise Elementary reopened, with Emily's classroom rebuilt and equipped with new materials. The students' parents helped decorate, filling the space with the children's drawings and messages of gratitude. A special plaque was placed at the entrance of the room, now called the Courage Room, in honor of Emily's brave actions. On the first day back, Emily was greeted with applause from the entire school. The children ran to hug her, and the principal presented her with a special certificate of recognition. Overwhelmed with emotion, Emily thanked everyone, but insisted, "I did what any teacher would do. These children are my inspiration, and I would do it all again for them." The fire also brought the Springfield community closer together in unexpected ways. Parents, who previously had little interaction, began organizing to support the school and its teachers. One group created an emergency fund to ensure the school had additional resources for safety and improvements. Emily was invited to speak at other schools, where she shared her story and discussed the importance of emergency preparedness. Her humility and sincerity touched many hearts, inspiring teachers from other towns to dedicate themselves even more to their students. At the end of the school year, the parents organized a special ceremony for Emily. During the event, Liam, the last child she had rescued, took the stage with his mother. He held a golden star-shaped trophy, engraved with asterisk, "To Emily Harper, our star, who saved the future of 20 children." In his still childish voice, Liam said, "We'll never forget what you did, Miss Harper. You're the best teacher in the world." Emily accepted the trophy with tears in her eyes, hugging Liam as the audience gave her a standing ovation. Despite the intensity of the events, Emily continued her career as a teacher, dedicating herself even more passionately to her students. She began developing projects that taught children about empathy, courage, and teamwork, using the fire as a lesson in how people can come together to overcome challenges. Though surrounded by support and gratitude, Emily faced internal battles. At night, she dreamed of the fire, the children's screams, and the suffocating smoke. During the day, she masked her emotions, putting on a smile to reassure her students and colleagues. Encouraged by a fellow teacher who noticed her emotional exhaustion, Emily decided to seek help from a therapist. In therapy, she found space to process the trauma and recognize the strength and courage that had guided her that day. "You didn't just save 20 children," her therapist said during a session. "You gave them an example of resilience they'll carry with them for the rest of their lives." Those words began to resonate with Emily, and she used this new perspective to strengthen her bond with her students. As the school's renovations progressed, Emily worked tirelessly to keep the children motivated. She organized activities to help them process their own emotions, including theater performances and drawing sessions where each child could express their feelings about the fire. Seeing Emily's dedication, the students' parents became even more involved. Together, they organized fundraisers to support the school's reconstruction and show Emily how much she meant to the community. When the school was finally rebuilt, the entire town gathered for a celebration. Emily was invited to cut the inaugural ribbon, but instead called her 20 students to the stage. "They are the reason I'm here," she said to the audience, tears in her eyes. "The love and trust these children gave me kept me going. This school is not just a building. It's a home for all of us." Liam, the boy Emily had rescued last, continued to show his affection for her in small but touching ways. One day, he approached Emily with a special drawing. It was a simple yet powerful image. Emily, surrounded by the children, holding their hands as the sun shone brightly above. "You're our son, Miss Harper," he said, handing her the drawing. Emily couldn't hold back her tears. She hugged Liam and, for the first time since the fire, felt a deep sense of peace. Emily's impact extended beyond her classroom. Inspired by her bravery, the town began investing more in school safety and emergency training for teachers. Emily was invited to speak at educational conferences, where she shared her story and encouraged other educators never to underestimate their role. Even so, she remained the same dedicated teacher who loved being surrounded by children. For her, the applause and awards were secondary to the joy of seeing a student learn something new. Months after the fire, Emily was invited to a special ceremony at Springfield's Town Hall. Unaware of what it entailed, she accepted the invitation, thinking it would be a simple group celebration. When she arrived, she realized the event was much bigger than she'd imagined. The room was filled with people, parents, teachers, students, and even former students who had heard of her courage. On stage, the mayor gave an emotional speech, highlighting the importance of educators like Emily. "There are many forms of heroism," the mayor said, "but none are as impactful as the unconditional love and courage to protect those who need it most." Today, Springfield comes together to honor someone who risked everything for our children. Emily was called to the stage, where she received a Civic Honor Award, a medal, and a commemorative plaque highlighting her heroic act. Her class joined her on stage to present a large card signed by every student with the words. Trembling with emotion, Emily held the microphone and said, "I never did this for recognition. I did it because it was the only thing to do. These children are my world, and the courage you see in me came from the love I feel for them. Thank you for letting me be part of your lives." Emily's story had a ripple effect. Schools across the state began implementing stricter emergency training and investing in safer infrastructure for students and staff. Seen as a role model in education and leadership, Emily was invited to join educational committees, shaping policies to benefit schools nationwide. Yet, she turned down several administrative positions, explaining that her true passion was being in the classroom with her students. With Sunrise Elementary's reconstruction complete, the community gained not just a new school, but also a renewed sense of strength. Emily Harper continued her work with the same simplicity and dedication that had made her so beloved. However, the impact of her heroic act echoed far beyond the school's walls, leaving a legacy of courage, compassion, and inspiration. As life moved forward, Emily dedicated part of her free time to creating a program called Asterisk, Brave Little Hearts. Asterisk, designed to teach children how to handle emergency situations calmly and effectively. The program was adopted by schools in various communities and received support from public safety organizations. Maria, a mother who had lost faith in the education system before the fire, spoke during the program's launch. Emily Harper showed us that heroes exist, even in the simplest places. She didn't just save 20 children, she gave us hope. Years later, Emily received a letter from Liam, the boy who had hesitated during the fire. Now in high school, he wrote about how Emily's courage had inspired him to become a firefighter, so he could save lives, just as she had. "I want to do for others what you did for me, Miss Harper. Thank you for never giving up on us." Emily held the letter with tears in her eyes, feeling a profound sense of gratitude. She knew that, no matter what the future held, Her impact would live on in the children she had taught, protected, and inspired. Years after the fire, Emily Harper's story was still told in Springfield and beyond. Her courageous impact extended far beyond the children she saved that day. Her dedication and love inspired a new generation of teachers, students, and parents to value the fundamental role of education and prioritize school safety. The school was completely renovated, and one of its main hallways was renamed the Emily Harper Passage. The corridor's walls were adorned with drawings by the kindergarten students she had saved, depicting her bravery and the love she showed every day. Maria, Liam's mother, became an active school volunteer, organizing activities that taught students about teamwork and handling challenging situations. She proudly said, "Emily didn't just save my son, she showed us that an entire community can grow stronger when we care for one another." Emily's program, Brave Little Hearts, was adopted by dozens of schools over the years. Children learned not only safety techniques, but also the importance of caring for one another during difficult times. Emily frequently visited schools to speak about the program. Everywhere she went, she was met with children's hugs and stories of how her courage had touched lives. Liam, the boy who had hesitated during the fire, maintained contact with Emily over the years. He graduated high school and, as he promised, enrolled in firefighter training. On the day of his graduation, he invited Emily as his guest of honor. When she arrived, Liam took the stage and gave an emotional speech. "Miss Harper taught me that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the choice to do what's right despite it. Because of her, I found my purpose. Today, I want to dedicate this achievement to her." Emily, overcome with emotion, felt that all the sacrifices and challenges had been worth it. One quiet afternoon, Emily sat in her backyard, flipping through an album of photos from her kindergarten class. Each page was a reminder of the impact she had made, not just on the day of the fire, but in every moment of teaching and care. Holding Liam's letter in one hand and an old drawing from another child in the other, she smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace. What began as an ordinary day at school had transformed into a journey that changed lives, including her own. When asked by a reporter years later what that heroic moment meant to her, Emily replied, "Being brave isn't something we do alone. I was strong because those children trusted me, and because this community supported me. My greatest lesson was that when we act with love and compassion, we can overcome any challenge." And so, Emily Harper continued her life not as a hero seeking glory, but as a humble teacher who believed that every small act of love and courage had the power to change the world. This story reminds us that true courage doesn't lie in grand gestures but in choices made with love and dedication. Emily Harper teaches us that the strength of the human heart can face even the greatest challenges and create an impact that lasts forever.